What was your earliest recollections in Oklahoma as a kid? You was born in when? 23?
25. 1925, February the 19th. Old Sunnyside School, where I went to school the first 2 years, is a one-room house and one teacher and 8 grades.
8 grades?
Yeah.
Teacher. Wow.
And we went through that the first 2 years of my.
About how many people were in your class? What do you guess?
Oh, there's probably 5 or 6 first graders. And on up to the 8th grade, probably there's 3 or 4 in the 8th grade. I don't remember exactly, but one teacher, she taught us all. And that house, that schoolhouse was on my granddad McDonald's homestead. Anyway.
You was 8 years old when the Depression hit.
Probably so.
Do you remember any of that?
Oh, yeah, I can remember hard times, and the folks always had us with food. We never did go without, like the Blues did. The Blues just almost starved to death.
But it took you 3 days to get out here?
Yes, 3 days. And we'd find first 2 nights we found an old vacant house.
Yeah. Just go in?
Yeah. The third night was in the mountains, and it was a little old cabin, and we gave $1 for that cabin. We had some heat in it, a coal stove or wood stove, but it kept us warm.
What'd you think when you first saw the mountains?
Oh, I was just a little bit disappointed, and I was expecting a lot more than. I think Pikes Peak's probably the first mountain that I seen. I imagine it was Pikes Peak. Rode on Highway 50. I think you can see Pikes Peak. Anyway, it was a mountain, and when we first looked out, there they are, Dad said, look out there. And, well, yeah, great big hail over there. We come out here, and it was sure a nice place to be. You could get apples.
Kind of must have come in the summer?
Fall of the year.
So you could get in the peach harvest.
Mm-hmm. When we moved out here, it was like moving into the promised land. We had never had, fruit like that, and we went into Palisade and camped down there and picked peaches, and we got out of there before the Dust Bowl. The Dust Bowl started right after we left there.
Really? So you never saw the Dust Bowl?
No, we missed that. We come in 33. I don't know when the Dust Bowl started. It might have been started already, but it wasn't in its real severe time.
So you went to school where?
Started at Mountain View, and then we went to Fairview, and then we went to Pea Green, and then we came to Olathe, and I finished everything in Olathe. I come to Olathe when I was in the 4th grade, and until I had to quit school.
Was Grandpa at that place on the hill?
Oh, no, No, we lived just out. We started out, on East Mesa, out by close to Mabel, where Mabel lived.
How many of the kids were still home when you moved here?
Just Mabel and I and Pat and Jeannie and Hazel.
Orville had already left, or
Yeah. Occasionally he'd come back for a little while. He joined the CC and for $30 a month, and he had to go through training, there, and it was the best thing that ever happened to our country because it had a lot of guys, in their basic training and to where they could go right into the Army when the war broke out. But he gave the folks his money, except $5 a month, and they lived on it. They lived on that.
so you kind of grew up there. Where was the horses at?
The horses?
Yeah. You have horses here?
Yeah, we had them. We had them as long as I was at home.
Grandpa plow with horses?
Yeah, some. But finally, Orville bought a tractor, and we had that tractor then. But Dad got that home there that he owned, not when he died, but he had a place across the road from it. And that's the only home he ever owned.
Only one.
Yeah. They got, they done quite well. And once he went on the old age pension, they had it real good. They had enough money to get by. Once Mama died, it was a little harder, but they had enough to get by. And I know Dad got out of debt. He didn't owe anything. I know he went into the bank with me one day to borrow a couple $100, and that old banker said, "Now, Mr. Pfister, do you have a loan with the government?" And Dad said, I don't owe anybody a dime." "Oh, well, fine, you bet." So he signed for me for $200. That seemed like $1 million then.
What was he borrowing it for?
What was he borrowing it for? For me. I don't remember what I needed it for. I needed $200. He just signed it, see? I couldn't get it from the bank.
So, you grew up in Olathe then. You went to church all that time?
No. I didn't go. I quit going to church. They didn't make me go. And I didn't go. Several years I didn't go.
They just leave?
And I'm not proud of it, but that's the way, huh?
Kind of leave and look at you? Or?
Oh, they didn't look at it. They just let me go. They just left without looking at me. I had it better than the girls did. I'd take a half a dozen eggs down on Saturday to the grocery store down there, and they'd give me a dime for them, and I'd get me a candy bar and have enough for a nickel for the picture show. Picture show cost a nickel.
Who ran it? Tater
Bell. Old Tater Bell. He was running the thing, and he'd come down there and straighten out us kids if we got loud.
The silent pictures?
No, they weren't silent. They were talkies. Talkies, they called them. Mostly, a lot of them were cowboy. And we liked that. I'd go on my bike a lot.
Did you?
Yeah, I had a bike. I got a bike, and it was a nice one. I used it for years.
So, You had played football one year? Or?
I'd played the 8th grade with this old coach. It was 6-man football, which I didn't know at the time. And it was a dirt field.
You was a pretty good fast kid, wasn't you? You was a fast runner.
Yeah, I was that. Especially in the football uniform. I could outrun anyone on the team.
Really?
And when I was a freshman there, I was good. I was good at running through I made some touchdowns while I was a freshman, carrying the ball. I lettered that year. I still got the letter. The copy they gave me of the letter. I made a letter.
And is this in Olathe?
Chirac,
Colorado.
Oh.
8 miles north of La Junta. La Junta, yeah.
You stayed at a rooming house?
Oh, no. I stayed at 2 or 3 places. They had turkeys there, and I stayed and fed the turkeys to get food and a place to sleep. And then a school teacher there that was keeping another boy. She was an old maid, Miss Swanson, and she offered to take me in for $8 a month, and that was hard to make, I'll tell you.
Did you get to eat with that?
Oh yeah,
So it's room and board. Right?
yeah. Well, she didn't make nothing hard, but I've always thought about them people. Tommy Myers was the coach, and man, he treated me so good. Same with Miss Swanson. I didn't deserve. I'll often wished I could go and tell her how much I really appreciate it. I did stop and see her one time.
Okay, so you kind of like go to the dance on Saturday night? Or?
Oh, yeah, I did that.
Where'd they have it at?
They had several. Oak Grove had a dance hall, and P. Green had one, and North Delta had one where we had a meeting down there.
Did they play radio or?
No, they had a trumpet. They had people played, yeah.
Kind of country singing and
Oh no,
swing?
swing mostly, yeah. Jitterbug.
Use a jitterbug?
I could 2-step or jitterbug. That's two I could do. You know, you heard the story about me quitting school.
No, not really.
Yes, I was a junior in high school. And I was coming up on 18 years old, and I didn't know it. But old Prof. Wilson was my ag teacher, and I started to leave after class. And he said, Les, I need to talk to you a minute. And you mind staying? And I just waited for him, and he said, I hate to tell you this, but Uncle Sam insists that you quit school. Everybody did that when they got 18. Said you get to either get on a essential job or join the service. But it was a must. Nobody could stay in school after you're 18. So that's what we did, and I got a job. I went down to Palisade. I was going with a girl named Bonnie Brown, and her folks moved down there.
Is that the picture of the girl on the...
Yeah. I went down there on the account of her more than anything else, but then I got on with a man that had a tractor, and he done custom fertilizing those orchards down there. And I got deferred for a year that way. I stayed out of the service for a year. People can't believe that Uncle Sam would say, no, you'll have to quit. But it was just that essential. The war was going bad, and boy, they was calling people in all the time. And I had 4 kids that I kind of run around with in school and church, from church there. And I was the only one that lived to my 20th birthday. And one of them was Hubert Boyd, and he was killed up here in gathering wood. Had a little pistol in his pocket and reached over to get some wood, and that pistol fell out of his pocket and discharged and shot him right in the heart. Just killed him instantly. And then the 2 others that, the other 2 that I run around with, one of them died on Iwo Jima, and the other one died in Italy. Ernie in Italy, and David Hayes on Iwo Jima. So I guess I was lucky in lots of ways.
None of them saw their 20th birthday.
No. I was inducted in the Navy. That was unusual, but I was.
They stuck you in the Navy.
Yeah.
Just needed sailors at that time?
I imagine it was that. I imagine they were anticipating these last
Japan.
3 wars. Well, the last 3 wars, bad battles there. Iwo Jima and Okinawa, and then Taiwan before that. About that time's when I went in.
So where'd you have to go? Now you was married at this time.
Yeah. I went to, you mean when I first went in?
Uh-huh.
San Diego, Naval Station, Naval Training Station. And,
did you like the Navy?
you know, I didn't mind it. I really didn't mind the Navy.
Where did you go most of the time on the Navy? Is it one certain place or just a lot of places?
Oh no, I went to San Diego, of course, and I stayed in San Diego and went into the hospital there at San Diego, and I went from San Diego into Bremerton, Washington.
From San Diego, were they bringing in a lot of guys that were wounded from?
Quite a few, yeah. I treated quite a few guys that were wounded.
Well, I remember seeing that picture of you. It was Alaska or Canada.
Yeah, I was in Kodiak, Alaska. That's an island. Mm-hmm. Kodiak's an island. I was also out at Adak, out to Adak. I was on Adak for a while.
Which island did the Japanese have?
The Japanese had Attu and Kiska. But they didn't have it when I was there.
Yeah.
They'd already been whipped out of there. Otis Wilson went to Kiska. They trained him for mountain training, and then sent him out there.
You work in a hospital there?
Dispensary. You mean on ADAC?
Yeah.
Dispensaries. They weren't.
Did you go out on the ocean any?
Oh yeah, but not much. I was aboard ship some.
Being a medic in World War II, was it good?
Yeah, it wasn't bad at all. It's a good thing. Of course, I did it mainly because it was when you when you went to your battle station, you went to the sick bay. You got ready to take on wounded, yeah.
Was that in the middle of the ship?
Kinda.
Kind of scary to be in there and not see what's happening outside.
No, not necessarily. I'd hate to have been way down below.
Boiler room?
Yeah. I'd have never made it in the submarines, yeah. I'd have never made it there. I'd have went completely wild.
So, war ended then?
War ended. We got to come home.
Prettiest sight you ever saw?
Yeah.
Where'd you come in at?
Oh, we come off that cold water in the Aleutians, and it was kind of gray colored up there. But that morning the water was blue, and the sea was calm, and the sun was shining. It was warm, and somebody said, "There it is." And I looked up, and you're just barely on the horizon. Just barely see it. The San Francisco Bay Bridge over that spans the harbor of San Francisco.
Golden Gate.
Yeah. Just barely see it. And oh man, it looked good.
Could you see it first or see land first?
Oh no, you just see that.
You just saw the bridge.
The bridge stuck up over everything. There might have been other land there, but I never seen nothing but that bridge. You know, it's colored. You can see a long ways out. Oh, yeah.
Everybody cheered.
Everybody was tickled.
So how long was you there?
They mustered us out with $300. That's quite a bit of money then. You know, just handed you $300.
Outdoor, you get to keep your uniform.
Oh yeah. You kept your uniform. I still got my dress blues. I gave them to Chris.
You're out of the Navy. Did you go to church some or?
Not very good. After I had Patty, I started doing better. I don't know. I just went through a period of time when I wasn't.
Tell about the cigarette incident, stepping off the step.
Well, it was kind of a short, about smoked up, and it was a roll-your-own. As I stepped and stumbled, I stepped off the step and swallowed it. And it made me sick.
Did you run to Mom after you stepped off and wanted to get something to?
Oh, it was a dot. She gave me a piece of paper. It's something to eat or try to swallow that down. And
Was it burning?
well, no, it didn't burn, but it was just made me sick. I sprayed 2 or 3 years. I sprayed. I learned to fly. I had sprayed already. I'd sprayed with tractor and equipment for a year, I guess. That's how I got into and got to flying, because they had a way where they were starting to spray with the planes.
Yeah.
And I was wanting to do that, so I took one trip across the field with my plane, and I decided I didn't want that anymore. And then the guy that was training me, he came in the next day, pulling about 100 feet of telephone wire. So I decided I didn't want that. But I learned to fly, and I never have been sorry I learned to fly. And
Who is your mentors at church? Fred
Herring.
Lived here at that time?
No, he didn't, but he came quite a lot. Fred was my favorite preacher. And
Did you
I
preach
didn't.
then at that time?
Not about in the early 50s. Early 50s, I got called to preach. You get called back there then.
Who called you?
Well, I had 2 or 3 people and Johnny Case kind of explained this the best I ever heard. Brethren used to do that, and they would get a calling from prophecy. I call you to preach, teach, and baptize. And
So I actually got a calling too.
Johnny explained it. He said, that doesn't necessarily make a preacher out of you, but it confirms what God wants you to do. And that's what it does, really. It just confirms what you're feeling like doing.
So
When did you first start preaching? How old were you?
I think I was in after 1950, probably 50. In 50.
Tell about Grandma's prophecy. Grandma Pfister, that you'd have a minister.
I don't think she ever got a prophecy like that. She just was confirmed that that's what would happen. She said when she found out I was expecting that I was going to be born, why she was a little disappointed, I think, when you've already had 6 kids. She said the Lord, when she found out she was really expecting, she said, Lord, make him let it be a boy and let him be a minister. As I recall, that's the only thing I can remember. That.
Okay. I thought you looked at Orville and thought, no.
She told somebody that.
Okay.
She said I had one son. I don't know who she told it to. She said I had one son so shy he couldn't do anything, and another son so mean and ornery that I couldn't expect much out of him.